Hi, welcome to Rhetoric Rabbit Hole. And boy, do we have something exciting for you. Last night, I went to take out my trash and I found the gnarliest, biggest, most filthy mama possum in my trash can that I've ever seen. So obviously, I invited her on the podcast, and that's where we're at. Can we get a possum streak? Is that asking too much?
Well, I didn't even realize it was your house I was digging around in. Trash. It was just coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, thanks for being here anyway.
Yeah, no problem. It was all coincidental, even though we're on camera, so it's not like, I'm obviously in my bedroom, so
so maybe it wasn't.
Story doesn't check out, Alex.
My story's not adding up, is what you're saying.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
we'll suspend disbelief on that, I guess.
So yeah, besides the possum, alley cat, Blake Dellinger, we also have Philip with us. Thank you both for joining me. And you even got video this time. That's nice.
Yeah. I'll get used to it.
So, when is your album drop? It's like,
it drops on October 16th in 4 days.
Okay, 4 days. Let me think. By the time this goes up, I'm probably gonna try and get this up Thursday. So it'd be coming out. Is that the day after? Okay, cool.
Yep.
So yeah, check out In Hindsight tomorrow, and I'll put some links up and shit. Yeah. So, Bad Witch is off of that, right? Is off of In Hindsight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw your lyric video for that, and it's funny because when I saw the picture, with you with the knife and the gun.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, like a bad witch. And then I listened to
bad witch.
Yeah, and then I listened to the song and I'm like, oh no, like a clumsy witch, like a ditzy witch.
Exactly. It's not, it's not about being like bad, like doing evil shit. It's just about being bad at being a witch.
Being bad at being a witch. Yeah.
You know? Like really it's just about, like being overwhelmed and anxiety and executive dysfunction and things like that hindering you in life. It's all just allegory and metaphor and everything.
Yeah.
So but yeah, like it that lyric video was hard as fuck to do in like one take.
That was awesome though. It turned out good.
And thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's funny because that's just not what I was thinking when I clicked on it. And then like it was a great song. Like
thank you.
But the message was different than I had originally thought when I went into it, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like it was a good song.
Good.
Very
like
quirky.
We just gotta draw you in somehow. Like,
you're just trying to like bait us all with your tits. It's like
let's
click this video.
That's why I grew them.
It worked. Yeah, I mean, selling, it's marketing. Speaking of which, I want to talk next about Trans Girls Need Guns, which is is that off of Intellectual Hooliganism or is that
no? It's In Hindsight. That's gonna be.
Oh, okay, so that's on this record as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Right on. Because that's my it was a hard choice for my favorite Flummox track, but I'm probably have to go with that one.
Hell yeah.
Because it's I remember during the Obama administration, there was a lot of, you obviously had the side that was talking about the harms that, gun laws have, like where we're trying to reduce death counts and stuff like that. But then you had the other side that said, well, you don't want to get rid of these guns in case we have a tyrannical government that you have to rise up against, which is part of what the whole point of it was to begin with. And now I see everyone's not everyone obviously, but a lot more people are, now that we have a Republican dictator in office, there's a lot more people seem like they understand a lot better now that we do need protection. from, you need to be able to defend yourself, you know?
Right.
And that's it's not just trans folks. I mean, that's minorities. That's anyone who needs protection. Like, obviously we can't count on the government to do that for us. So that song is a really powerful message, and I feel like it's controversial because I'm sure not everyone agrees with you on that.
No.
But that's I really like it because of that, because I feel like that's an important message.
Yeah, we actually the lyrics got taken off Facebook for hate speech.
Oh shit. Are you serious?
Yeah, oh yeah. Like some turf groups out in like the UK got a hold of like the original, like when we it technically had 2 releases because like we played it live and the video of that came out like over a year ago, and then the actual recording didn't come out until like June of this year. But
I didn't know that.
But when we originally put it out, the video got circulated a lot by like mainly queer groups for a while, and then I guess it found its way into the trans exclusionary radical feminist movement, and they were not happy about it. It's great. It's great. They tried to get me in a little bit of trouble, but couldn't really do much about it. But yeah, like I don't know. I mean, as far as like gun laws, it's kind of like what you said. You know, it's a matter of like the government's not gonna. It's proven time and time again that there's really no interest in protecting marginalized people,
right?
And more interest in just keeping us down.
You just recently shared another thing about was it a trans woman in Colorado, was assaulted while she was eating dinner? I just saw this. It happens all the time, but you just shared one.
Yeah, that kind of thing happens so often that it's like, yeah, I think I remember posting about that. Out of the many incidences there unfortunately is at this point, it's just been getting kind of worse. Like,
yeah, what I just said could have been any one of 100 posts. Yeah. And that's so I mean, like personal defense, man. Like, how long does it take the police to get anywhere when you call them to like come out and do fucking anything?
And even if they do show up, or they, like, I mean, like I've been around when like cops were called for like domestic abuse situations. They don't do shit. Hell, in those kind of situations, like it's usually like social workers and shit that kind of help you out, at least get you on the right track. But police, nah, fuck that. Literally been in a position where the abuser was just locked himself in his bedroom. The cops were like, yeah, we can't really do anything about it. So, like, they don't give a shit.
Fucking bullshit, man.
They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, police brutality should be something. It should be something everyone can look at and be like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, like, that's the thing. I feel like, I mean, it is disproportionately against Black people, but it's a problem for everyone. It's
sure, definitely.
We all should be like, hey, instead of making a race issue, it should be like, hey, I mean, there is a component of it that is racial, but I'm saying, like, even take that aside, the police are killing American citizens.
Yep.
Why would anyone be not upset about that?
I mean, it's kind of funny how like I've seen like a lot of conservative like white people kind of fuck up their own argument, because they'll be like, yeah, well, this white guy was murdered by the police 2 weeks ago. Why is there writing in the streets about that? It's like, that's like,
yeah,
I mean, I've seen more like, I don't know, like I've seen a lot more leftist organizations and Black Lives Matter comrades that are just like helping out everybody from various different backgrounds, and like within the communities, it isn't about like any particular it's weird having to word this. Like but I don't know, like within certain communities, like something that doesn't even have to be talked about. Like it's just, we're all humans, but suddenly, it's being like a certain way, a certain race, a certain affiliation, a certain gender, whatever, becomes something political.
Right.
When it's just
Yeah, that's exactly right.
people.
Let's talk about Festival of Ghouls.
Yeah, sure.
This fucking lineup is insane. It's like a
Yeah.
3-day fucking festival.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess for me personally, it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because god damn, do I miss shows? Miss actual shows. Live streams are not shows.
The last show I was at was your show at the Borough.
The Borough? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple people tell me that, and that's great. I had a feeling like that was gonna be the last show for a lot of people for a while, including myself. And yeah, like it's just pretty fucked up because of all that. But it is cool that Festival of Ghouls is happening, and we filmed our set 2 days ago.
I wasn't expecting a Festival of Ghouls this year. Then I saw Zach drop that, and I was like, oh shit.
I was told about it a little while ago. Just, like, hey, we might be doing this thing. It's like, okay, just let me know.
This might be the most insane lineup yet, honestly, because like it's a lot of it is people who've already done Festival of Ghouls. It's all this one giant melting pot.
Yeah, I mean, it's it wouldn't be possible really to do if it wasn't virtual, like the way it's formatted. But so that's one thing, and I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Howling Giant, and this is technically the first time we've played a show with them in years. And Fable Cry, honestly, I think the last time we played with Fable Cry was like our album release show 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh shit!
So
yeah, that was the one at the end, right? Was that at the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good show.
That was a fucking great show. We did film our set though, and like we found out doing our last live streams that like trying to do the theatrical Flummox thing is just not really something that translates super well over that format. So what we've been really focused on is just putting on a good performance musically. So we filmed us playing the entire EP front to back, no stops, and like three songs from the last record.
Nice.
So so yeah, we got something planned, but it's definitely going to be, I don't know, like doing these live streams is like the worst kind of blue balls as a performer.
Yeah.
I don't want to sugarcoat it. There's definitely some talking with certain musicians where it's been like, this shit's killing me inside a little.
I feel like it's been a test for at least a lot of artists that I know, like where you see a lot of artists like yourself that buckle down and just start putting out hits during this Corona thing. And then
we wrote and recorded all that stuff before the Corona.
Oh really?
Okay. Yeah, that's the only reason it even that we even got to do it really. Huh? Yeah, we literally recorded all of In Hindsight like maybe a month before the quarantine and all that. Wow. And then like what was originally the plan was we had 2 EPs come out this year. One of them was just like the cuts from the last record, and we were gonna tour. We were basically gonna be touring for the majority of this year, and we were gonna be first doing a tour based off this little EP that we kind of threw out there by surprise, and then we were gonna take In Hindsight on the road a little earlier. Actually, it was In Hindsight was gonna originally be put out in August, before coronavirus and all that, and everything that pushed back with the label and so, but it makes sense for it to come out in October. Regardless, like it's just been like, like we had all of our plans scrapped. We had dates going all the way up to New York City and back and all, and going out west and stuff that I want to say we canceled about 20 shows roughly and had a lot of other things being planned when all that shit went down. So you know, it's just been like we have the songs, we have In Hindsight, and we've been writing. We still we don't meet up as much as we were before the virus, but when we do meet up, like it is like a matter of, okay, have you done your homework? Cool, let's work on this piece of music. We've already begun writing the 4th full-length Flummox album.
Oh wow! So you're already working on another album now?
Oh yeah, we've been working on a new album for a few months.
Wow.
Writing wise, we haven't
I
recorded.
stick to what I said then. Y'all buckle down and like kick some shit out during all this.
It's gonna be a while before we get that particular record out. We probably won't try to put that out till 2022, but we are gonna have like a little EP of knickknacks that we plan on putting out sometime next year as well. But for now, like In Hindsight, honestly, is like the best damn record I've like put out, honestly.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the full release.
Oh yeah,
Friday.
Friday.
Where can people find that when it comes out?
Easiest way to get physical copies, vinyl, CD, cassette, needlejuicerecords.com. You can get it right through our record label's website. But I mean, you can find it Spotify, Amazon, you know, Bandcamp, all the normal streaming sites, iTunes, YouTube, all that stuff. So
if you just get on Needlepoint, is it Needlepoint? I'm sorry, is it needlejuice.com?
Needlejuicerecords.com. Yeah.
Needlejuicerecords.com, and you can just order a record and have it sent to you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's so direct, so streamlined. That's nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The vinyl, I'm really excited about. It's like crazy colors and shit. So Needle Juice does really good work.
We were talking about just a minute ago about that. It was Intellectual Hooliganism album release at the end. That was the last show you did before you came out, wasn't it?
That was actually the first show I did.
After?
I came out the day before.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because
that was technically my first show out.
I gotcha. I was just thinking, because I remember when like my introduction to Flummox, you know, like back in the day, Flummox. I remember thinking of similarities I saw between you and less so now, but between you and Baphomet, because Baphomet is like, I mean, even back in the day, you had this huge scraggly beard and you'd wear fishnets, you know, and like or those long, those really cute kitty tights you had.
Still got them.
Those I remember, but like, you know, like Baphomet is the androgen.
The divine androgen, yeah.
It's all the things. It's all encompassing, and I feel like, oh, nice. Wait, hold on. I gotta see the rest of this wall. Let's go back to your wall.
So you've got the Possum Madonna.
Oh my God.
And there's Baphomet, and he's above my bed. And if I flip it even upside down, there's the Hobbit.
That's sick. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, the Possum Madonna is a one of a kind. Rachel from Fable Cry used to play in Fable Cry. Painted that for me.
Wait, which one? The possums? No.
For my birthday one year.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't seen them in forever.
Yeah, they moved to Maryland, so like it's I was actually supposed to go stay with them on tour. Yeah, they're good people.
I should get Rachel and Q on the show. I'm pretty. I'll do that soon. Yeah, I'll try and set that up. So, okay, you got Baphomet on your wall. Is there anyone else you consider part of your pantheon? What do you worship?
Well, I don't know if worship is necessarily the right word. More like revere. I guess I come to the certain deities and such for as more of a trying to learn, almost like from a mentor sort of kind of relationship. But mainly just looking into myself while also kind of revering these certain attributes. Baphomet is definitely, as you can see, a big one for me. I mean, I've always felt super androgynous even before I transitioned.
You have a
And
strong affinity with Baphomet. It's very easy to see.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I've also like found, I guess, attributes that I revere in Astaroth and that sort of side of things.
Can you tell me a little about Astaroth? I'm not too familiar.
Well, Astaroth, from at least from my research and from what I've kind of discovered for myself, or is more of a Astaroth is one of the princes of hell, but as well as he's always also been portrayed female as well in certain recordings and whatnot. There's actually a famous prog rock album that was about like the female Astaroth possessing a woman and being sacrificed.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And so like I guess Astaroth has always been sort of present in my life in that sense, just like I guess almost like a gateway demon.
That's okay.
So I don't know, like I've also attributed like Astaroth to sexuality as well, and like that sort of thing.
Okay. Is Astaroth the one you're telling me about, Phil, or is that Asmodeus?
It's Asmodeus.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I like Gateway Demon. That's clever, and it's true. It's like a lot of people turn to Stolas, the owl, as their first familiar because he's just traditionally the like the gateway.
Yeah,
that's funny. So okay, hold on. So that you said Astaroth. So Asmodeus is, what is that the demon of, Philip?
Lust.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And that's the one you were saying is like a cowardice spirit.
I mean, yeah, when it comes
like
to
according
mortals, he tends to run or to hide. He's kind of a pussy. I mean, he's powerful, but he's a pussy.
Okay, gotcha. I my personally, it's I have affinity with Satan and Payman, and I feel like I treat Satan differently than a lot of people do, though. Satan to me represents sort of what you were talking about, Blake, the mentor-student process, because Satan gives Eve the fruit. He doesn't ask for anything, he just gives it to her. And that is an archetype we see repeated. You can see that with Prometheus. He's the light bringer, he gives man fire. And we can see this with Odin. He impales himself on the Yggdrasil and comes back with the runes. It's an archetype of handing down information, of freely distributed information.
And being punished for it.
Yeah, and being punished for it. Yeah. That's true. In
some way or another. That's
a really good point, because a lot of people would argue that we've done bad things with that gift, so maybe it wasn't a good decision. I think the freedom to make bad decisions is more important than a perfect system, I suppose. I guess that's a personal thing, but where I'm getting with this, it's something you see a lot in media, and not just in media. There's a lot of people that actually follow this sort of belief system, but I see. How many times have you heard the term satanic cult?
Enough times.
Too many. A cult is so counterintuitive to what Satan is, and it irritates me every time I hear that, because you know what a cult is. A cult is God in heaven saying, "I have this information that mortal man does not," and Satan's the original cult buster. He walked in, he was like, "Fuck you," and he took that information, he gave it to people, gave it to the low man. And I mean, when I think about worship, that is the ideal I worship. If I don't worship that, I don't know what I worship. That is the thing to me. So anyway, where this rant's going is I really dislike cult behavior, where it's like, first of all, you have these cults where it's like, oh, we have this secret information and we're withholding that. First of all, no, they don't. They don't have that information. That is just something that is being said to make themselves seem higher than, to make themselves seem elite. And so I mean, first of all, just fuck cults in general, but like specifically fuck Satanist cults, because that just really irks me, because it's just they don't know the source material at all. Clearly, you don't know Satan. You know, that's a rant I've gone on before, but it's something I'm really something that really matters to me.
Yeah, of course.
Understandably. Yeah. This is just something I ask everyone. But do you have any ghost stories? I feel like.
Sorry.
I feel like everyone, not everyone, but most people have some kind of supernatural experience. Do you have anything you would attribute to the parent, something you can't explain with logic, something supernatural, a ghost story? Do you have any good ones you want to share with us?
I mean, like, I've always kind of like, I guess, had like ghostly vibes around me in various instances of my life. And you know, and even just and outside of just ghost stuff, like, I mean, I've definitely had like UFO experience. You know, I've seen them.
Okay.
And that kind of thing.
Oh, that story.
Yeah, let's come back to the ghost thing.
Yeah. So yeah, the UFO thing. So I wasn't on drugs.
Clearly.
Well, I mean, you know, it's fair. But me and Drew, my guitar player, for those who don't know, we were like 18, and we were like just hanging out in his driveway. I don't know if we were waiting on something. None of that matters. We were just standing there in his driveway, and I happened to notice over this tree line, a little further off, like down his neighborhood, like 3 little lights rose up from the tree line. And at first, like, I thought maybe it was like, you know, like those little candle things that sometimes people lift up, you know, and or just something like that, you know. It didn't really occur to me if it was anything until they started like spinning around each other.
Okay.
Making different patterns and shit. So like, you know, there was 3 of them, and then they all started like intertwining, and then another 3 came up, and then another 3 came up, and then there was 12.
What the fuck?
And they were all spiraling. And me and Drew were like, what the fuck? And this was like 2012, so like these kind of phones weren't exactly like, you know, as much of a thing. So we were trying to record on these fucking flip phones. And then what kind of sealed the deal for me? I was like, well, maybe this is like some sort. Yes.
Okay.
So what kind of sealed the deal for me on all this? I was like, because, you know, even up until a certain point, you're kind of like, maybe these are just some sort of drones some rich kids are playing with. Well, then the one that's highest up in the sky goes real fast, zips up in the sky and disappears. And then the second one does it. And then a third one does it, and so forth.
Where was this at?
It was here, Murfreesboro.
Damn.
about
Well, that's wild.
3 miles from where I currently am sitting.
So, okay. So, yeah. I don't even know what to say about that. Do you have any UFO stories, Philip?
Fuck no, I'm not cool enough to have UFO stories.
Yeah, I don't either.
In ghost stories, like, I don't know, I think one thing I can really think of was I used to be, when I was like 12. I mean, I've been in like old houses. I used to work in like all these old houses where like doors would just shut on you for no reason. You'd hear footsteps. I worked at MTSU and like shit would move around. Like I'd have the only keys to the building and shit would get moved around, you know, like I have plenty of those type of little stories, but the most visual, I could say, there's this theater here in Murfreesboro, Center of the Art, and I used to do like a drama school for like young kids when I was like 12. Anyway, I remember I was about to get picked up by my mom, and I realized I left my lunchbox in the building. So I ran back inside. No one's in the fucking building, of course. I run back inside and I go to grab my lunchbox, and I notice this like figure that was like in a I guess you could say like an overcoat, like a brown type overcoat and like an old time, like maybe like a bowler's cap type thing, you know. And he like passed in front of the door and then disappeared into the wall. Now, in the basement of the Center of the Arts, someone was murdered.
You watched it walk through a wall?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pale face, too.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You're saying.
Oh, you're good. No, you're and back in the 30s, apparently someone got murdered in the basement or something. The Center of the Arts, or the 40s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Damn. Yeah, I've had a lot of trippy experiences, like fucking with spirits, but that's very rarely visual. And it's I've always wanted to see a poltergeist, like to watch, you know, like something levitate, you know.
Yeah.
I can't say I believe in that just because I haven't seen it. I would like to, though. I would like to believe in that. But I like when I turned 8, like I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I don't know if we talked about that. Is like when I turned 18, I moved out of my parents' house and had to basically just rediscover things, you know, like breaking down learned information and like unlearning it basically. And
been there.
yeah. It was really cool too, because like I came out of that and then almost immediately fell into the local music scene here. So that quickly became my church, you know, going to see Fable Cry or Flummox, or, you know, like that quickly filled that void for me, which I know a lot of kids that came out of that same circumstance and didn't have a network of friends to fall into, you know?
Yeah.
And that's, but anyway, when I first moved out, I was like a really experimental age for me with like trying to, I mean, like I was 18 and I was homeschooled until I moved out, and I was very devoutly religious. So I literally had no peers outside of my church. That was it. So when I came out, you know, start experimenting with drugs and spirits. What else do you do? So like I got like I was always interested in the occult, but like in a very superficial hot topic scene kid kind of way. I wasn't
That's how
like
it starts.
that. Yeah, that's how it starts. You're right. And like I was borderline atheist because Christianity left such a bad taste in my mouth coming out of that. So like I didn't believe in anything. So when me and the girl I was seeing at the time bought a Ouija board, and long story short, worked way better than either of us were expecting. And that gets into it's a very physical thing for me. Like it starts, like your hands moving around the planchette, and then which hold on 1 second.
He's gonna bring it out.
So it has to be easier to explain if I just show you. My board is not, it's not an evoking board, like splayed out like a rainbow. It's a dial. So I didn't realize this when I bought it, but there's a difference between this and your standard rectangular board. One is an evoking board, one is an invoking board. And it's all about the shapes. Like you see, this is the circle. What that represents is whatever you're coming into contact with is within this circle with you. It's a shared circle. There's no, you can think of it like the difference between a window and a door. So you can be talking to someone through a window, or they could be in the room with you, So I mean, I didn't take it seriously at the time, but both of us experienced bodily possession that night. And the way it started was like this on the planchette, moving around. And at that point, we both trusted each other a lot. But when that's the first time you've done something like that, there's always that skepticism that the other person is moving it. So yeah. So I mean, I call Ouija boards training wheels, because I think that part is really important. Because what happened was, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is her moving it, but I'm just gonna see what happens. Let's just see what happens. And then after a minute, you realize that you're not talking to that person. You're talking to something else. And once you realize that, then, I mean, that's a light bulb, like you go from not believing to believing just because you're seeing something, experiencing it. Anyway, every time I've come in contact with one of these things, they're so ecstatic to be in a body. Like, it moves up the planchette and like through my fingers and then my hands and then my arm. And it's a lot of, it feels like physical therapy. Like it'll take my hand and just do that a bunch of times. Like if it was just trying to learn how to use a muscle. I've experienced this a lot at this point in my life. Probably like, maybe like 100 times. And that's, but it's always physical. I've never seen like just something float in midair, which I think they can't. I think they need a vessel in order to interact with this world. And that's through my own personal experience. I've talked to other people who have seen poltergeists just lift things off the ground. But in my experience, these things are so excited to see you because they're not used to being in a body. They want to use your body because they don't have that. The way I see it, if you were able to just lift something off the ground, what would be the point of having a body? Like, why would that be so important? Anyway, long rant. That's what I'm getting at is I want to believe in poltergeists, but I don't. And it's because I've messed with spirits and haven't seen any of that yet. I'm not saying they don't exist. I don't believe they do. So when it gets watching someone walk through a wall, like you described, that's breaking physical boundaries. But I would also say that is an event that could take place entirely in the mind, right? Like that could technically be a hallucination. Not saying that it is, just saying it could be.
It would have been a really silly one to have.
Sure, I'm with you. I'm not saying that it was, but when
somebody who's hallucinated a lot intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't seem likely that it was a hallucination. Like you're of sober mind and you just saw this. But when it comes to this stuff, I try to I think that's part of my problem, honestly, is I try to find proof. Like I try to prove things instead of just experiencing it. Like like if that happened to me, I'd be like, that dude just walked through that wall. But I guess there'd be that seed of doubt that like maybe I'm just crazy, maybe I'm absolutely just fucking insane. And like
I mean, I am.
we all are the best people.
But you know, the dude walked through the wall.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say your story's not credible. That's not what I'm doing. It's like what I'm trying to say is I want to find ways to like prove these things, because like every time, like I've been possessed, I've been bodily possessed, but like how do I communicate that to someone else? Like you can watch me sit down at a Ouija board and see, you know, my hand moving, but that doesn't mean anything to a third party watching this, you know, like that could just be you just doing weird shit. Maybe you're not even intentionally doing it. Maybe you're just hallucinating yourself. It's like just a weird mind game. And I cannot for the life of me prove that spirits exist. I've tried many different experiments, and I can't, like one thing I did is I tried to get it to relay a message to my friend who was sitting across from me, and it wasn't able to do that, which either tells me that it can't read my mind or it's not real. So I mean, even that's not definitive. I can't figure out a way to perform a experiment that would tell you whether or not spirits are external or if it's an imaginary friend, you know? And like chaos magic kind of just tosses all that out the window, and it says it doesn't matter. What's important is what you as an individual are capable of. What can you do? Yeah. And that's where I've eventually settled at, is it doesn't matter what's happening. What matters is what I can do, you know? Which, you seem like a left-hand magician. Seem like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you seem like a much more my will pushed outwards rather than like drawing inspiration from above, you know?
A little bit of both.
A little both?
A little bit of both.
Nice.
I mean, yeah, this is Cosmo, by the way. I'm a little dwarf cat.
I love cats.
I have 3 of them. My familiar is somewhere around here. But this is my dwarf. She's actually 5 years old, but she looks like she's only like 6 months old.
Aww.
But yeah, so I chaos magic is more or less, I guess, what I would align with on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
A lot of my methods are unconventional. And a lot of you know, I don't really when it comes to magic and other people who use magic, I don't really relate to others very much in that sense. I just kind of make up things as I go along, or take from other teachings and things that I've read from this source or another. But I also, you know how to stay in my lane and not, you know, I'm not going to be messing with any indigenous magic or any voodoo or anything, because I'm just some fucking white girl. You know, I'm all about just like exerting my own ambitions.
I thought you were gonna say essential oils and pumpkin spice.
Well, you know, the Wiccan aesthetic, you mean?
Yeah. I'm just fucking with you.
I know. Easy to get looped into sometimes. But no, I definitely am more left-handed, I guess, in that sense, where I just more or less exert my own will.
Now that you mention it, I think it's,
but I do so in a way where I don't particularly, at least for my own magic use, don't really believe in hexing other people or trying to sway somebody a certain way.
You don't believe in it, or you don't do that? Like you're saying it's not possible, or you just wouldn't do that?
I personally wouldn't do that.
Okay.
If yeah, that's for my own
Hmm.
shit. Anybody else wants to do that, that's up with them and whatever spirits they got going on.
I was trying to be clear. I couldn't tell if you were saying that you didn't believe you could hex somebody, or if you were saying that you just don't personally do that.
I think like a lot of certain, I think if you exert certain energy, like people are more, the human mind is capable of more than people give it credit for. And I think like in my case, a lot of my magic is mainly psychological. A lot of it really is in my head, and a lot of it really is stuff that really only pertains to me. But it's stuff that has really enabled me, whether it be by divine intervention or by placebo, to engage and direct my ambitions a certain way. I certainly feel like witchcraft had a hand in me becoming more in tune with myself and my own like being who I am as a person, my gender, my sexuality, my whatever I affiliate with morally or ethically. But it's more or less about that than it is about like, you know, I don't really have any interest in allowing any spirits to, I guess, use me as a vessel, but I definitely have interest in sitting down and hearing what they might have to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably wise, because there's real danger there. I think part of I say that, but you know, and this is something you were just touching on, but I've had to learn that what works for me does not work for everyone. Like, you know, when I first used the Ouija board, my initial instinct was, holy shit, I have to show this to everyone, because I didn't think it worked. And now I'm like mind blown. And then, you know, I realized it's like I've talked to many people who are like, yeah, that makes me uncomfortable, especially when you tell me that you were bodily possessed. That's really driving me away from it. And I'll just be like, no. I mean, as long as you tell yourself you're in, like, that's how it works for me. If I tell myself I'm in control of the situation, then I am. It's I'll passively observe, you know, my shoulder rotating or my hand folding and unfolding, but I know I can stop it. Like, I know that. Like, if I tell myself stop doing that, then that's done. Not everyone has that ability though. Some people are. It works differently for everyone. That's something that really took me a long time to understand. Everyone has their own path, especially when it comes to magic.
For sure.
But it's definitely a very personal thing. Because I can't tell someone else how using a Ouija board is going to work for them. I can just tell them how it's going to work for me. And yeah.
Like drugs.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Psychedelics and other substances, they hit people differently. And one person might have a very pleasant experience, and another person have a very negative experience.
Everything you just said about the Ouija board, you could literally like replace the word Ouija board with LSD, and it would probably not change the meaning whatsoever.
Right. That's true. That's true. It's like, and those, it's funny because those things go hand in hand with me too. Like, I've had experience with spirit work without being on psychedelics, but holy shit, is it on another level when you're on psychedelics.
I like to draw a circle, take acid and paint. Usually.
Nice.
You know, see what happens. Sigil painting.
Okay. You'll have to show me sometime. It's like,
got this one.
Oh, okay, cool, perfect. Yeah, it's ready.
I just happened to be writing in some stuff.
Was that it? That was an intuitive painting while under the influence?
Let me see. Yeah, this is one where I was tripping, and they all get crazier and trippier the more you go. This one is for Boreas of the Northern Portal. I did one for each portal.
Okay. So yeah, so it is a sigil then. It's got a meaning to it. It's just not obvious to maybe someone looking at it.
No.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of my sigils only have meaning to me, and that's the way I keep them.
That's the way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, a sigil, when we talk about sigil magic, it's barely even magic. It's science. Like, the movie Inception, who doesn't? It's like, I don't care much for that movie, but it's the idea of putting an idea into someone else's head that's not a myth. That's just a fact. You can do that. Like,
yeah, you can do that kind of thing.
Like Coca-Cola.
I mean, most of my magic has been sigil magic.
Same. Yeah. Like Coca-Cola got in trouble like back in the 60s because they spliced like their logo into like an advertisement for like a frame. Like no one even noticed it, but like no one saw it consciously, but yet like people were getting up out of the movie theater and going and buying Coca-Cola like
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, subliminal messaging and that sort of thing. I mean, sigil work for me is just like, in a way, almost manifesting it for myself. It doesn't necessarily have to involve other people, although those, that could be the ends of a mean to an ends, whatever. And like, it's one of those things where I usually when I end up doing a sigil, I make sure to at some point kind of put it out of mind completely, and then just at some point I'll probably be walking down the street years later or weeks later, maybe months later, doesn't really matter, and it'll be like, hey, that thing.
Yeah.
Exactly
what you mean.
And like I'm sometimes I'm more vague about what I'm going for than I should be, but definitely in very specific cases I've had some results.
The same. Yeah, and we're talking about two different kinds of sigils now. We're talking about a personal sigil, which is you talked about putting it out of your mind. That's the process of charging the sigil, is you make it and then you put it out of mind, you destroy it. And then that's no longer in the physical conscious world. It's now in the imaginary subconscious world somewhere, floating around in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And but there's self sigils, which is basically just a way of reprogramming yourself. Like, and then there's sigils. That's when we start getting into like sigils for other people can be that you got to be really careful with that stuff, because you could really hurt someone that way,
Yep.
But like yeah, it's also, there's an art to that though. There's an art to because you have to make a symbol that has a meaning, but someone else isn't going to consciously recognize the meaning, but they're going to subconsciously get the meaning you intended, even though you didn't outright tell them that. So I think it's certainly possible, and I've had some success with that too. But it's there's a real art to it. You gotta be really good at that. It's barely even magic. What we're talking about is a science. It's
I agree.
It's a psychology. Yeah. I like
terrible at it.
At making sigils.
Yes, I'm the fucking worst. It never fucking works for me.
How many have you made? I'm talking about like I made hundreds.
Yeah, well, I'm not that dedicated. It didn't work for me the first 4 times, so I gave up. The other way works for me better.
I just dabble with sigil stuff for a while until I come up with something I kind of like. And I mean, I have a process, of course, but after that's all said and done, I charge it my own, depending on how I'm feeling. There's various ways you can charge a sigil.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just, anything works.
I
charged a sigil once by coming on it. I like took a piece of paper and just jerked one out on it.
I mean, that's stuff. That's that's one of the easy ways to charge sigils.
Yeah, that's true. That's almost easier than meditating on it.
I have such a hyperactive mind too. I don't know, it doesn't really seem that way, but I really do. So it's hard for me to meditate. So sometimes it's easier for me to just be like, I'm just gonna get in, take a little Nick blood and just go that way, go that route with it.
So
there's like little every now and again, like I'll notice like, where did this little scar tissue come from? Oh yeah, that one time. I guess that was from Mayday.
That's you just reminded me, that's something I ask most guests I have on, and this is a question for both of you. If you had to draw blood some way, what would be your method of doing that? It doesn't have to be a lot of blood. Let's just say that
razor blade
where, like you said, like right here.
Usually just like my arms, or my thigh, or nothing like too noticeable, and nothing in a way that it looks like I'm self-harming. So like it'll just be like, because I never really need to use a whole lot. That kind of thing.
Just an amount. Yeah.
Something to seal the deal.
Yeah. So, okay. Because you'd be surprised like how many people answer this question differently. Like, I've asked a lot of people this, and like, this one dude was just like, yeah, I just take an empty syringe and I jam it in my arm and pull the blood out. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Jesus.
Go fucking medical with it. Fuck that.
Like, goddamn. Like, what about you?
Fucking chaotic.
Yeah, like what the hell? Going hard over here. I'm just talking about like just prick my thumb. Like, Jesus Christ.
I can't do that. You know me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, fingers are a no-go. Hands are a no-go.
Yeah, this in general, huh? Yeah. What about you, Philip?
Hands for sure.
Like, more specifically, like how
if I had to draw a lot, then, or like, a decent amount, probably just, knife across the palm of my hand. And then if I could get away with just a drop or two, then I would prick my fingers. But
I didn't think about that. Like, that make playing bass difficult.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even when it happens on accident,
Blake, what do you think happens when we die?
I don't know.
No one does. Not a single fucking person on the planet.
That's just kind of how I'll leave it.
Good answer. Good answer.
Like, I mean, I, like you, was raised very, very religiously. I was a Southern Baptist.
Okay.
And with very, very, very right-wing conspiracy creationist leanings. Kind of, I went to a private Christian school where they taught you like the earth was 6,000 years old.
Wow.
And like, they didn't know how electricity worked, just God kind of did it. We were made to watch The Passion of the Christ when we were in 5th grade, unedited. While the football teacher was screaming at us about how we were doing this to Jesus. So Mel Gibson is beating the fuck out of Christ or whatever.
That's so fucking funny.
It is in hindsight. It's super traumatic, but now it's like,
hey, you said the thing.
Yeah. I did. Fuck, I did. It's just a praise though. The only reason we fucking named it that is like, oh, we're releasing it in 2020.
Oh, fuck. It's mind blown right now.
Yeah, so that's the only fucking reason we called it that.
Okay.
And like we even like, and it's probably gonna bother some because like there's Theban letters all over the artwork, all over like the fucking, like if you go whenever you buy the record, there's Theban letters under like every single track and everything. And all it is just translated, to like what our shit is, like the sigils, or rather the Theban letters around me and the album cover is just In Hindsight.
Oh,
You know, I feel like it's nothing like it's nothing too subliminal.
I gotcha. I've seen the symbols you're talking about, but I didn't know what they were. What is Theban? What is that?
Theban's the witch's alphabet.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a Wiccan derivative of something Crowley probably mustered up. I don't really know a whole lot about the origin, but I really have loved the style of it. Like I said, I consider myself to be a bit of a magical mutt. You know, I take from all kinds of different
Yeah.
sources. Theban is just one of those things where, like, I mean, it's just known as the witch's alphabet, and apparently it's enough of a language to have a font
Yeah.
on Microsoft or whatever. But
That's very interesting because I've seen those letters before. I just didn't know where it came from, or seen that. I guess things that look like that. I guess.
Theban.
Yeah. Theban.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I've been going about an hour and 20.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you think it would hurt to get a paper cut under your fingernail?
On a scale of 1 to 10, what is a 10?
10 being the most amount of pain you've
Give me
a paper cut under the fingernail.
Yep, on that skin that's underneath the fingernail.
I mean, I've gotten one like right under it right there, like under the cuticle, and that does suck.
How does it compare to childhood trauma? On a scale of 1 to 10?
Probably not at all.
I don't know. I'll probably take the finger cut.
Maybe just a little bit. So I mean, yeah, I was confused about your question because, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is a 1 and what is a 10 on the scale?
Okay, yeah. So 10 would definitely be childhood trauma. 1 would be like your mom deleted your WoW account.
Maybe use something relatable, not just nerd talk.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just fucking.
Like this whole fucking podcast hasn't been nerd.
Yeah, right. Like we haven't just been doing that for an hour and a half. Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, Alex. What the fuck you mean?
Well,
I'd say it'd be about a 4.5.
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, I
can't relate, but I agree with you. It's probably sounds about right.
Let's not try it and find out.
Yeah. And I think that's as good a note to end on as any. Thank y'all for doing this. Appreciate it. And go check out the amazing stuff that Blake and the rest of the Flummox have going on. After this, let's see, this will go up Thursday. So tomorrow is In Hindsight. And Festival of Ghouls is when?
October 29th through the 31st.
29th through the 31st. Yeah. Definitely not going to want to miss that. Amazing lineup. So, yeah, look forward to that. And y'all have a good night.
Later, Alex. Later,
Bye.
Phillips.